30 degrees.
Indianapolis Center, do you have any test operations restricted area 2508?
Aries 31, roger. Traffic is quite luminous and is exhibiting some non-ballistic motion, over.
Roger, Aries 31. Continue descent at your discretion, over.
Okay, Center. The traffic is approaching head-on, ultra right, and really moving. They're right by us right now.
There are 1,000 UFO sightings reported around the world every month. 90% of these sightings can be explained, but 10% cannot. Officially and unofficially, the U.S. military has been investigating UFOs since 1947. Their top secret goal is to find out what's behind these unexplained sightings. The Pentagon classifies them as unusual airborne anomalies, but a better term is X-Files. Join us now as Mack Maloney and Commander Cobra explore these unsolved cases, UFO incidents that baffle even the U.S. military. This is Mack Maloney's Military X-Files. And now, here's Mack Maloney.
Well, good evening, everyone, and welcome to Mack Maloney's Military X-Files show here on the Distant Thunder Radio Network. This is Mack Maloney. What a show we have for you tonight. But first, let me introduce you to the members of the posse. Girls, get ready. God, I can say this in my sleep now. Girls, get ready. Sit yourself down, get your mister, get your fan, get your big box of Kleenex, and your extra big box of wipes, because you know who was here, the very famous Juan.
Hello, Mike. Hello, girls. Welcome to the show. Max, good to talk to you. I did. Good to talk to you. Mac, Mike.
Holy cow.
Remember that show, Mac and Maya for Hire? Remember that one? We were talking about old...
I knew we'd go down that road. Well, that's a long
that was a good way. There were two construction guys, weren't they?
Yeah. XXXVVYY. Aye. So, yes, how are you?
Mac, good to be with you, and good to be here, and good to be anywhere, as a matter of fact. And welcome to the show, ladies and gentlemen. It's a beautiful thing.
We should tell people that we, off here, we just had a involved discussion about Rolling Stones underwear.
We did. I'm still looking for it on the website that I was given by the lovely and talented Raven.
Okay, the search goes on. Okay. Anyway, let's move up the totem pole. Milfs, Gilfs, and Gigi Gilfs. You can rejoice, because joining us tonight is the equally famous, well, they know him as Coco on the street, but we know him as Commander Cobra. Coco, how you doing?
Good evening, sir. And I'd just like to add that Mike the Knife doesn't have the same ring as Mac the Knife.
No.
I'm not sure where that came from. And truly, JJ would be the face of Rolling Stones underwear.
Well,
I can see that whole ad campaign right off the bat. And I did notice that on the screen, on my LCD screen here of the show, the Command Network, it looked like one of our hosts may have thrown up in her mouth a little bit.
No.
So I'm not sure what that was about.
Who's Switchy? No, let's go. Let's go.
What?
I don't want to say further up the totem pole. Let's say further away from ground zero is our national correspondent up there in Battle Creek, Michigan, the Battle Creek of the Republic, home of the Flakes, Switchblade Steve Ward. Switchy.
It is great to be here tonight.
Yes. Okay.
Good to see you, Switch.
And how are you doing?
I am beyond wonderful, man.
I'm sure you are.
Name of the bio. Okay. All right. Hair looks good, kinda. Okay. Pot is on the left
I miss
side.
Willie Clubb making comments on my hair.
He's on a secret mission, a really secret mission, but he'll be with us next week, and you can make fun of him all you want. Now, listen, I don't want to say how old you are, but it looks like you have a attack of acne there, my friend. What are those pimples all over your face?
No, those are mosquitoes.
Really?
We got mosquitoes here like we haven't in maybe a decade.
Wow, global warming.
This is radio, but we're in a Zoom session here. Look, holy smoke,
are they big?
Terrible.
Are they bigger than usual?
No, they're just very enthusiastic.
Yeah, okay, that's all you need is enthusiastic mosquitoes. But look, let's really move up the food chain now. The beauty among the beasts. Our favorite good witch up there in, keep saying it, upstate New York. Raven. Our good friend Raven. How you doing tonight, Raven?
Hi, my friends. I'm doing well. Thank you so much for having me.
We should clap for her. Let's.
Oh, you don't have to do that.
Yes, we do.
I'm not that fancy.
Oh, we got to be a TV show. So how are you doing tonight? It's a bun night, obviously.
It's a bun night. Yeah, I'm good. You know, just Doing my thing.
Okay. Last week it was kind of a Xena look. I went back and looked at the tapes. All right.
Yeah, it was. I had that going on today, and I had to switch it to a bun because, wow, I looked like somebody just let me out of the third floor at the hospital, and I probably should have been locked back up. I don't know how they let me into the building at work today.
I'd just like to throw a quick public service announcement to all our fans who are on the third and ninth floors of respective hospitals. That was not meant as a slam.
I was going to say, what's on the third floor? The lounge?
Certainly wasn't.
The bar and lounge?
The lounge, yep. And I think there's a music floor there,
lounge
too.
in the gaming room, yeah. The gaming room.
That would be a groovy hospital. If the third floor was like a bar and a little music, a little dance hall, be cool.
Thanks, Cobra, for that disclaimer. That was very appropriate.
Yes, thank you.
Third and ninth floor, we're sorry, no matter where you are. So listen, tonight is a special night, and I'll tell you why. We're going to be talking about cops and UFOs. It seems that cops, policemen, and UFOs come into contact a lot of times because a lot of times when people see a UFO, the first thing they do is, call cops. So there's a lot of stories out there about police interacting with UFOs and stuff. We're going to be talking about them tonight, and we're also going to have an authentic cop on with us, a good friend. Jocko Johnson will be calling. 10 years in the NYPD. He's now undercover down in deep cover. He'll be joining us later on tonight. But it's also a special show because tonight we're going to announce the winners of the second edition of our World War II trivia contest, which we played so long ago, I can't remember when. It's weeks anyway, right?
At least about 3 or 4.
At least over a week.
Anyway, well, better late than never. So let me just explain for the newbies. Several weeks ago we played World War II trivia, and the master of ceremonies was our good friend Phil Orbanes, who is the president of Winning Moves board games. If just Google Winning Moves, they make all the really cool board games, different kinds of Risk, different kinds of Monopoly, Clue, the Rubik's Cube, you name it, winningmoves.com. Very interesting company, interesting guy. He was the master of ceremonies. He gave us a bunch of 20 questions. Somehow, I guess I came out on top the last time, and we asked our listeners to write in. Did I win?
Yeah, you did.
I guess I did win, right?
And the game wasn't rigged either. You won it.
The first one? No.
Yeah, I think you won the second one. Yep.
No, Coco won the second one.
He did?
No, Coco didn't win the second one. You won the first one, Coco, didn't you?
I think so. I don't know, Mac. The secret mission schedule has really thrown off my chronometer of Mack Maloney.
Someone won. And so tonight we're giving away, we have the Magic Fishbowl. Raven has it, and she's going to be picking the winners. We have 3 runner-ups and then a grand prize winner, okay? The 3 runner-ups are going to be getting copies of the new Clue. Clue. Remember Clue?
I do.
Okay, everybody?
Great game.
Well, this one is...
in the library with the fight.
It's the groovy Clue now, okay? It's like Colonel Dupont or something.
Colonel Mustard.
Yeah, right. Well, it's like Grey Poupon now.
Yeah, that was his first name. His baptismal name, Grey Poupon.
And, people sticking people with shivs and stuff. It's, really kind of up to date. So anyway, the first 3 runners up will be getting a copy of the new edition of Clue, courtesy of Winning Moves. And then top winner will be getting a rare edition of Risk in Europe, where you play the game Risk, which is cool. It's about world domination, but you play it just for Europe. It must be very intense. And it's really nicely put together, a really nice kind of game board game. So that'll be our top prize. So without further ado, please, Raven, do you have the Magic Fishbowl then?
I have the Magic Fishbowl, and I'm ready whenever you are.
Okay, so why don't we start picking up the names, and these will be the first runner-up.
Raven, please make sure you get a good sort of the names, because there have been complaints in the past.
Well, the game, that's true. Now, I'm glad
picking from the top or just taking directly from the bottom. Just make sure.
Mix it up.
The Magic
Fishbowl.
Magic Fishbowl has been hacked in the past, so we've got to be prepared for that as well. Okay.
Okay.
All right. So here we go. The third runner-up in the World War II trivia contest.
Okay, we have Susan Calpilla, a native of Woburn, Mass.
Woburn, Massachusetts. Let's go.
All right, Woburn.
Woburn.
Woburn. We got it.
Hey, someone in that neighborhood. Okay, cool. Okay, our next contestant in the World War II Trivia Contest, games and prizes provided by winningmoves.com. Please, Raven.
Next, we have Slam Pam, the South Korean hooker from the Thirsty Dog.
Oh, wow. How'd she get in there? Act him up, Mesh. How dare she act the magic fishbowl? Only Juan is laughing. Only he was there. Okay, please. Next, let's go to someone who a real runner-up, a second runner-up in the World War II Trivia Contest.
Next, we have Vic Gaines, big fan of Juan.
All right, there, please. Let's. Big fan of Juan.
Big.
Big Gaines. Big. Okay, please dig deeper down into the magic fishbowl.
Deeper down? All right, here we go. Ready?
Here we go. Yep. Next contestant, please. Next winner, please.
Excuse me, sorry. We have Mr. Randy, Switchy's hair system stylist and manager.
Mr. Randy, he hacked the
It's inside hockey. He's not allowed to participate because he has direct contact with a member of the staff. Obviously,
I think Switchy's put his name in like 6 times.
Switchy, is that him or is that a new hairpiece? What is going on there?
It better be a hairpiece because he's in a bad position there.
That's not good.
Okay. Looks like Boris Johnson was getting intimate with you. But anyway, it's an inside joke. Please. Raven, let's get a legitimate runner-up, please, in the Magic Fish Bowl.
A legitimate runner-up. You got it. I have Allison Spinelli from Connecticut.
Oh, wow. Connecticut. Right. In the area.
Hey,
all right.
There you go.
You know, a number of Spinellis in Connecticut.
There's a backstory to her story, which we will talk about off air. Please, next contestant, please. Raven.
Next one we have
Winner.
Brian, Coco's Gelding Horse.
Brian, Coco's Gelding Horse. He also hacked the mentioned.
Yeah, but his name is Teddy.
Teddy.
So,
Teddy.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure who Brian is, unless you're trying to break some news to me that I get a new border that's coming. And I sure hope that's not true.
No. Well, hats off to him. He's still hanging in there, huh?
Oh, he is. He's found out about electricity. He's found out about electricity. Mrs. Cover completely wired the entire pasture up with 10 miles worth of wire.
Really?
Electric fence. Yes.
Okay, let me get this straight. Okay.
Wow.
So you've relieved Teddy of his manhood.
No, he came that way. But he was relieved of his lavaliers. Okay. That's correct.
Teddy is relieved of his tool bag, and he's in an electrified fence as well.
Yes, because Teddy realized that he could kick through the metal fence at will.
Really? Yeah.
And he'd go off into the woods, and here's a horse that supposedly has all these problems that he can't. He's got big flat feet. He's got all these issues. He's climbing rock walls like a alpine goat. And when I finally caught him one morning in the woods, he didn't take too kindly to me bringing him back to the pasture. Yes, he threw me into a tree and then climbed onto the stone wall and hopped over another part of the fence.
Video?
Yes, no video. But Mrs. Cover didn't quite believe this story. Then she had her dealings with him. And when he gave her some attitude, Mrs. Cover became Mrs. Alva Edison Cover
that I can
and wired up this house like a high security prison. So
they'll teach him.
Everybody's happy, and I have to admit,
he's not happy.
It was very scary to see the glee in Mrs. Cover's eye when one of them bit down on the electric fence and got shocked, and she was actually took pleasure in them learning the hard way. Yes.
Oofa. Okay.
Yeah, I respect the woman quite a bit.
There's a little peek into her world.
Wow.
Okay. Yes.
No crossing her.
Well,
that's fantastic.
Teddy, rock on there, Teddy.
Sheesh.
Good for you. Okay,
and I'll break it to Teddy. No risk. We'll stick with checker. Got it.
Stick with checkers. Good idea. Okay, why don't we go now back to the Magic Fish Bowl and pick out our next winner in the World War II Trivia Contest, second edition. Please, Raven.
All right, here we go.
Wow.
We have Mr. Covert from the UK.
Mr. Covert from the UK.
Wow. The international angle.
Yes.
It's got to be winning. He has won the Risk in Europe, which is really a cool set. Phil was describing it to me over the phone. Really nice, kind of a limited edition, nice thing to have. So Mr. Cobra from the UK, one of our listeners in the UK, who we haven't isolated yet. What's the word I'm looking for? That Cobra.
I'm not sure.
Okay, good. Thank you. All right.
I'm sorry. I can't quite.
We haven't zeroed in on him on the GPS. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah,
you haven't locked them up. What are you trying to get here?
I should say that we're in the an experiment here called Dragon's Milk that Don Juan gave me. Okay, It's 11.5 beer. Yeah. Okay, and I can't handle it apparently, but. Okay, alienated is the word I was looking for.
Alienated. Isolated, alienated.
It's funny that I would forget that word. Alienated.
You know, all those years of us winning charades and word association games, I think it's come to an end.
I guess.
I thought you were going to say all those years of us winning wars for them, but you went down another road. So anyway, if you have a second, you want to talk a little bit about Ross Shop? I mean, literally like a minute. How are things going with rebuilding Mosquito?
Well, we are in Operation Crossbow, which is a major operation that was to defeat the V1 and V2 weapons of the Nazis during World War II. And the magnificent Mosquito played a key role in it as a reconnaissance asset to locate where those launchers were, as well as in the fighter-bomber role of actually putting ordnance down with all the other aircraft involved. So Operation Crossbow is what we're on right now for the People's Mosquito, and Ross is obviously a key member of leading the charge.
Okay. So the plane is actually going to be bombing places in Germany or just in their minds? So what's the connection?
You know, Crossbow, each year, every 9 to 12 months, the People's Mosquito has a new campaign title, and Operation Crossbow is the name of the current one that's on. And this is closing in on fuselages being molded, wing points that are being formed.
Yes.
And these are small goals that the project puts out.
When will it be airborne? When do you think they'll get in the air?
I think we're looking at about 2 years to 3 years right now.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, it's marching along. It's done tremendous. It's probably, like the show, a very eclectic group of people are involved. Wow. There are people that that will never have nothing to do with aviation beyond. They've just been attracted to the crowd, and you have complete, geeks like myself that are completely wrapped around the axle about this airplane. So it's a great group, and you are all members of it, obviously. Yes. And it's.
I got the teddy bear. People's Mosquito Project. Just Google it. People's Mosquito Project, and see what they're up to. We plug them every week.
And I'll tell you, if you do, you can catch some of Ross's incredible blogging and history that he does. It's quite in his own right.
Yeah. Interesting guy. So anyway, so the fun is over. So why don't we do this? Why don't we take a commercial break now? And when we come back, we're going to be talking about cops and UFOs. You know, how police have interacted with UFOs over the years. You're listening to Mack Maloney's Military Style Show here on the Distant Thunder Radio Network. We'll be right back after this.
Do you know where the world's most secret bases are located? Do you know what spooky action at a distance means? Is there a conspiracy by aliens to prevent us from conquering space? And where is the best place in the United States to see a real UFO? Find the answers to all these questions and more in Mack Maloney's new book, Mack Maloney's Haunted Universe. Visit places you never knew existed. The Phantom Tunnels of Tokyo, the UFO Trail in South America, Hong's Hat, and the very mysterious M Triangle. Mack Maloney's Haunted Universe contains hundreds of reports on ghosts, haunted planes and ships, weird celebrity deaths, mysterious sounds, and a breakdown of every monster in America, state by state. You've heard him talk about it on the radio. Now, get all of Mack's paranormal research in one large volume. Mack Maloney's Haunted Universe, with a foreword by the very famous Wan Wan. On sale now in your local bookstore or on Amazon.com.
Did I catch you by surprise there? Were you doing something else?
I was writing, but, as usual, I was writing something in my notebook. Keeping a diary of everything that I do.
Okay, all right.
Yep. It's from my memoirs.
Every thought that you have goes into that?
I'm going to write my memoirs later on,
Really?
It's going to be a bestseller. It's going to be a movie. Lily James is going to be in the movie.
Yeah, yes. Well, see, now who you talking to, Switch? Switch just pointed out something.
What?
It's a journal or a guy, a diary for a chick.
Oh, it is?
So do you want to rephrase that?
Okay, it's a journal.
Rewind the tape? Yeah. What's it say about me in that diary you have?
We'll have to discuss that over drinks. Drinks
wow.
and food.
Holy cow, that hurt. Thank you. Also, Gilfs, Mills, and BG Gilfs. He's here tonight, making a special appearance. Very famous Commander Cobra. Coco, how you doing?
Mac, as always, a pleasure to be on the wing. Thank you for having me back.
Now, Cobra, since you're studying acronyms, show, what are those acronyms that Mac just recited stand for?
Huh?
Oh, we're not going to go into that.
It's top secret, dude.
Okay, all right.
That's
all
not
right.
to be discussed.
Okay. Really not top secret.
Really. Let me just.
Another county heard from.
Let me just ask you, Coco. Did you get a haircut recently? Just trying to rub it into Switch.
I did it myself.
You did? Oh, really? Yeah. I wasn't going to mention that, but
I cut my own hair.
With a Flowbee? Was it a Flowbee?
I have my own set of trimmers and stuff. You know, I used to do it on the chip from time to time.
Shears? Yeah. Huh.
You know,
okay.
It's a skill. You know,
what's that? Once
when
a
you
year?
have people stuck on a boat and they want to get a haircut, come to me.
You're the guy.
Wow.
I'm the guy.
What if they want to need a tooth pulled? Do they go to YouTube?
Yeah, no, we had the medical folks for that. We had the foreman for that.
Interesting. That freaking Navy man is great. Was it the Navy or the Coast Guard? Coast Guard.
I did quite a bit of haircutting on the ship. The fun
now, you were in the Air Force as well. You were in the Air Force as well.
I was. I started on the Air Force before the Coast Guard.
Which one do you like better? Or which one is the worst?
The worst. There's no worst.
No worst. Go ahead.
No, I spent time with all. Well, I shouldn't say all the branches. I spent time with 5 of the 6 branches of the military, and I love them all.
Okay,
unbelievable.
It's like an orgy in a way, right?
One way, yeah, it is. And I'd say if you want the best, if you were to rate the best of the orgy factor, it would be the Navy. The Navy by far is the best, and that should really make sense. You know, we got 2 other Navy guys on the show, Navy proper.
Sure, yeah.
And I think they would lend the fact that it was a big orgy too.
Well, the Navy knows how to have fun, right?
They were the first. They were the first military service, so they are like the premier service in this country, which is kind of strange, but that's just the facts. And interesting. It's the Navy, and I remember that someone sent out photos, about a year ago, where it just showed, it was cut into 4, and it showed the Air Force guys, and they're just partying with dancing girls. It shows the Navy pilots in there doing tail hook and stuff. Then it shows the Marine, and he's sleeping in a puddle. And it shows the Army guy, and he's sleeping in just mud. And he goes, there's the difference between the 4 services, right?
There's actually 6, Mac. Just to keep it straight, because it is
Coast Guard.
Mack Maloney's Military X-Files.
It's Coast Guard
services.
What's the other one? Space Force?
Space Force.
Space Force. Man, I want to get that uniform. But anyway, we're cutting into his time, and I can tell he's getting nervous. It's our national correspondent, Switchblade Steve Ward, switching.
I'm not nervous. I have absolute control.
Really? Yeah. Okay. Was that wine you were drinking, earlier, or was it really just mineral water? Right? Because if he's loaded tonight, man, he drank that whole bottle.
No. It was just a little bit in the bottom.
Oh, okay.
We can't.
We're trying to paint a picture here, Switchy. You gotta be honest. Okay, listen. That humming you hear is our favorite good witch. Raven is with us tonight. Raven, how you doing?
Hi, I'm doing great. Congratulations to all our winners. You guys are all great. You're my best friends. You did a good job.
And Big Bob is your best friend now, too. So
Big Bob is my best friend.
friends.
And you're all my best friends. I have at least 10. So
excellent.
Well, listen,
this is great.
Well, we have to wait for Club to come back on to read the fan mail. But when it does, it's going to be no kids allowed. Listen, why don't we just announce, though, the names of the winners? These are the people who we picked their names out of the Magic Fishbowl after we played the World War II Trivia Contest a few weeks ago. And we were playing for certain listeners, and here are the winners. The first 3 runner-ups actually get the new version of Clue, the hipster version of Clue, the very famous board game. And the 4th runner-up is good friend Susan Capula. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. Also, 3rd runner-up is Vic Gaines, friend Vic Gaines, who's a big Wan fan, if I remember, right?
Yeah.
Have you guys exchanged contact info?
We haven't exchanged pleasantries yet, but as soon as I finish writing my memoirs, I'm going to have him proofread it.
His microphone isn't working. That might be a good thing. Okay. All right. You're open to whatever comes your way, is what you're saying.
That's right. Yep.
Okay.
I'm a free spirit.
Also,
you know.
Allison we know that there, bro. Allison Spinelli is also first runner-up, and they get the new hipster version of Clue by Winning Moves. Winning Moves is the company to make all these very unusual games, sorts of variations of these games that we grew up with, like Clue, Risk, Monopoly. They make the Rubik's Cube and about 20 other different games that you'd recognize. What's your favorite there, Wani? Right?
Shoots and Ladders. Shoots and Ladders. Do they make that one?
Okay, good.
Parcheesi. Do they make that one?
Parcheesi.
Parcheesi.
I'm sorry.
Remember
that's
that?
like the most boring game in the world.
I know. Jump, it's fun.
People
Jump, it's
play that
easy.
for
We all
money,
like to
though.
play Parcheesi. Remember?
Why don't we play Shoots and Ladder for
I like
$50 sometime?
Chinese
You do that on
marbles.
the
Is that
air?
what it was? Chinese marbles?
Chinese marbles. Well, now you're.
I don't know. Something like
It's
that.
called Chinese checkers.
Chinese
There you
checkers.
go.
Trying to keep
Okay.
things, he's trying to keep things together.
But you use marbles.
It's a favorite
though.
with Teddy and I. You know, after we've knocked back a couple of those dragon brews that act like so much, Teddy and I will play Chinese checkers.
Right.
He has a little trouble with the huff, but you know he can indicate what he wants to
Hey,
do.
listen, he's got to. He can be forgiven anything what he's gone through. So anyway, and then the number one winner of the grand prize, which was Risk in Europe, was our good friend Covert Man from the UK. Okay, Covert Man from the UK.
That's Mr. Covert too.
Mr. Covert, right?
Mr.
Right. So they'll be Winning Moves will be sending out those prizes very soon. I'm sure that Phil will be thrilled that he has to send 11 pounds worth of game to the UK. But you know,
is that how much it is? Really, 11 pounds?
Something like that. Yeah.
It's a quality production.
Yeah.
It might be 6 pounds, but you know what's very expensive? I found that is mailing stuff to Canada. What happened?
Oh yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah. What happened? Is that kind of new type thing? Or
Yeah, I think it's
be
because I think it's just some recent political changes and how things have just gone nuts. But I was amazed. I sent a couple books out to Canada, and it cost me more for one book to Canada than it did to 3 that went to the UK.
Yeah. So okay.
And I have to a little bit snooty on our Canadian border folks. A little bit snooty. Dealing with their requirements. It used to be, wide open, have a good time.
Oh, they used to wave you in. Yeah,
not so much anymore.
Yeah, and maybe you come back in the U.S. and they'd pull their guns on you. It was kind of yin and yang of international travel. But listen, anyway, before we get Jocko on, and I guess before we actually do the report switch, we have to find out what you had for breakfast. And then we're going to have to bring Jocko in, possibly hot. And you know what that would be like. So anyway, this is the most popular part of our show. Most popular part there, Switchy. Switchy looks very, very astute right now. It's the glasses. But he looks like this isn't going to be, I got a feeling this isn't going to be like whipped cream and oatmeal or something. Go ahead, please, Switch. What did you have? There you go. I feel better.
Did you, if I were to check with the ombudsman, would he tell me that this is the most popular part of the show?
Yes, he would.
Or is this hyperbole?
Hyperboil, as they say. No, people love what Switchy had for breakfast. Okay. Here we go.
This morning, I went to Denny's Diner.
Yes.
Oh.
And I had 2 pieces of French toast with 2 sausage links, 2 pieces of bacon, hot black coffee, water, and syrup. And butter, lots of butter.
Now, was that all in one cup?
No.
Or did you actually put that on some of your
eggs?
They put it in a blender.
The butter came with
Yes.
The hot with the melting with the French toast.
Yes.
And
yes.
I had two little things of syrup. I only needed one of them. I mean, there's a lot of syrup there. They're not.
Did you take the other one home?
No, I didn't. Actually, I didn't eat all the. I ate one full slice and then maybe half the other one.
And you left it?
Wow!
You left it for the waitresses
to go.
Yeah,
I got to go out. I got to go out to eat with you, Switch. I can eat in your portion too, along with mine.
There you go. Yeah, Juan. He
God knows Juan loves that because he feels like he doesn't have to pick up the check.
Exactly.
Well,
exactly.
Now listen.
if we were to do that one, you wait till I give you the signal and let you know that I'm actually done.
Okay.
Don't be guessing.
Okay.
That, he's done.
Reaching
now.
over with my fork.
One will explain to you as you look into his eyes across the table.
Yes, it'll be that.
Or in the mirror of the bar where all the fancy alcohol is, and he's working on your mind, and you are done.
That's
and
right.
then
You're
he'll reach
done.
in and take your whatever it is.
Either that or Switch just bombs
I've got
on the
to the
table.
point now
then
that if I'm out with them, I have to get like 2 orders of French fries or whatever because I know that I have to give up some to one. It's just right off the top.
I know I'm cutting into Jocko's time, and that's like really bad. But let me ask you
bad
this.
news.
So you get 2 sausages and 2 bacon? You get
Well,
two?
at Denny's, that's kind of the standard. You can have it any way you want.
Yes.
But usually they'll give you, like in a Grand Slam, you get 2 sausage links and 2 strips of bacon.
Wow.
You can have all 4 bacon, all 4 sausage links. But that's kind of the standard way.
And
That's
I'd just
kind
like
of
to
the way I
add that Grand Slam business is a reference to the ballpark, not to any other kind of activities that could be alleged.
Hey, listen. You must have been listening earlier. Anyway, so look, why don't we do this, okay? So that was good. We might put music behind that. That was so good there, Switchy. Good for you. And what waitress waited on you?
I don't know this young lady's name,
really?
but Michelle and Vanessa both said hi to me.
They both said hi. Okay. Was there any magic, any electricity between you and the new waitress, or was it just?
Did you leave a good tip?
Of course.
That was the next question. How much was this? This was like probably.
Well, with my military discount, it was about $10.15.
So what'd you leave? What'd you do?
Okay.
$5.
$5.
Nice.
Okay, that's okay. That's 50%.
That's good.
That's good. That's good. Yes.
Well,
right.
yeah, it's okay. I don't have to be told it's okay. I know I'm a good person.
Hey, listen.
Hey, look.
If it wasn't okay,
you
wouldn't you want to
join
know?
this pantheon. It's all up for grabs here, brother. It's
You know what
all
we
up
need here
for
on
grabs.
Zoom? We need
You've
some
been
kind of
out-
like a virtual padded room surrounding us.
Okay. I actually padded my room today, as it turned out, with sound damping. So
You did,
that's
huh?
another story. So you've been out with us, Switch. You know how it goes. Okay.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, Mac pays and we drink.
Wait
That's
a
right.
second.
It's
and
good.
Then
It's a
Switch
good
drives.
That might be in the old
Switchy
days
drives.
before the IRS called me. But look, why don't we do this? And Jocko, I can feel the vibrations.
Mac is writing on the back of coasters for the IRS,
He's
like
dialing
receipts and stuff. It's great.
online
No, it's,
right now.
it's so classic.
I'm just waiting for one of you guys to flip. That's all. So look at. Why don't we do this? That'd be a good contest. Who would flip first on Mac or the IRS?
Oh, there's no question about who would flip first.
Oh, you?
Oh, God, no.
Oh, okay. Oh, JJ, of course.
Oh, come on.
Yeah, I'm sorry. All they'd have to do is show them pictures of Lily James or something.
Oh man, how about?
Once they found out, they could start talking about what's the show they loves there,
Downton Abbey.
Downtown girl.
Downtown. Yeah. Oh yeah. Once they started that, he would be going into stuff.
Cue
about,
the Downton Abbey
diploma.
theme music, please.
And then when the IRS people got done, he'd ask to talk to Intel people so they could talk about the Chinese spy lady that you guys ran into and how he tried to stop you and all that kind of stuff.
that was not our fault.
He would throw stuff all over the place on.
That was Petula Clark, right?
Oh yeah, it was Petula
Down-
Clark.
Go Downton.
Yes, all the different
Get
series
all
of
your
letters.
troubles, right?
Yeah. Matilda Clark. So anyway, why don't we take a commercial break now? Because I see Jocko's in the room. And when we come back, we'll talk about cops and UFOs, okay? So you're listening to Mack Maloney's Military X-Files show here on the Distant Thunder Radio Network. We'll be right back after this.
UFOs are found in Renaissance art, on ancient coins, and etched on cave walls. They are even reported in the Bible. But more surprising is when UFOs are seen the most, in times of war. Through centuries, thousands of UFO sightings have been made by high-ranking officials, military pilots, and ordinary soldiers. Often, these fantastic appearances occur at the height of great battles. From World War I to D-Day, to Korea, Vietnam, and beyond, military investigators are baffled. Why do UFO sightings spike so drastically during wartime? Could it be mistaken aircraft, or is someone, or something, looking in on us? In UFOs in Wartime, What They Didn't Want You to Know, Mack Maloney chronicles centuries of these incredible sightings and tries to solve the puzzle of why so many UFOs are seen while humanity is at war. Read about the scare ships, the ghost planes, and the ghost rockets, alien giants in the jungles of Vietnam, UFOs controlling our ICBM bases, dogfights with flying saucers during the Gulf War, and more. 300 pages of unbelievable stories, along with many startling photographs. That's UFOs in Wartime, What They Didn't Want You to Know, by Mack Maloney. On sale at your local bookstore or on Amazon.com.
Welcome back, everyone, to Mack Maloney's Military X-File Show here on the Distant Thunder Radio Network. This is Macaroni. What a show we have for you tonight. We're talking about UFOs and cops. UFOs and cops. As it turns out, a lot of UFO reports involve police because, as we said before, when people sometimes see a UFO, the first people they call are the police. Let me introduce you to the gang, okay? Not a cop. The very famous Juan.
Hey, I wish I was a cop, though. Cops are cool.
You're a policeman of love. How about that? Right? You're a love
That's
cop.
right. Peace and love doctor here. Thank you for letting me be on the show.
How many arrests would you make a day if you were the love cop?
I don't know. I was,
Didn't he kiss a cop on 34th and Pine or something like that? No,
yes, I would do that.
Sonny Bono wrote that song, by the way.
He
Did you know
did?
that, Switchy?
I did not know that.
Speaking of Sonny Bono, Commander Cobra is up there in Maine. He's a big Sonny fan. Coco, how you doing?
I did have a backseat operator in my aircraft that I called Cher because it looked like a young version of Cher. So I guess that could be the
Really?
shared common ground of Sonny Bono.
Yes.
I just want to also add that I can see one as a love officer versus a peace officer.
Yes, right. Exactly. There is a
Love
distinction.
officer.
I do have that.
And if doing certain things was like passing out tickets, well, Juan would be the king of the county.
All
Right.
you need is love.
All you need is love.
That's right.
And $25.
Glad to be on the wing back.
Anyway, we have, let's talk to Switchblade Steve. We haven't introduced you yet, have we, Switchy?
I don't think so. Earlier in the show you did, but not
Okay.
not this
Not this
time
segment.
around.
Okay, you're
No.
already like 4 sausages and a couple of pounds of bacon into the day, correct?
To be more specific, 2 sausages and 2 pieces of bacon.
Okay. All right. What'd you have for lunch?
You were really picking out that
sandwich.
day, huh?
A sandwich. A sausage sandwich?
Abysmal.
Some sliced
Abysmal
turkey
cocktail.
and sliced up some cheese, put a little mayo on there. And
Wow.
Yeah.
Did you put that bad boy in the microwave, melt it down a little bit?
No, I thought about it, but I was in kind of a hurry, so
Okay.
Not,
And
not a fan of the mayonnaise.
I was taking the dog for a walk. My neighbor's dog, Mulligan.
Your adopted dog. Yeah, don't heat up mayonnaise. It's not a good idea.
I shared a couple of little slices of the sliced turkey
With the dog.
Yeah.
See, I hate to break this to you, Switchy, but the dog only likes you because you feed him.
That's not
There's
true.
no such,
No,
there's
that's
no
not
such
true at
thing
all.
as
No,
dog.
that's not
Because
true.
I
Hang
take
on
him for
a minute.
walks. I scratch him.
Well.
I comfort him when there's thunder and
Wow,
a bad
even more
storm. Yes.
He gives off a good vibe.
It's a
and the
good
dog
vibe.
can tell.
And when I
Yeah.
leave the house, he runs from the door to window to watch
Yes.
me leave.
Really, yeah? He's going,
Aw.
where's the food? See, the thing about dogs is when you leave them, they never think you're coming back. Okay? They don't have that capacity to think, okay, he'll be back. They
From
hope
someone
he'll be
who's never had a dog, it's interesting the insights you have. This is much like your second book on raising children, Mac, that I enjoyed so much.
What happened to the first one? They had to take it off the market. Listen, that
raising dogs.
that voice you heard is the very lovely Raven. Raven, how are you doing tonight?
Hi, I'm doing so good. How are you?
You have to be a TV show.
Is there been a
like
change
look
in
at
her
Raven's call sign here? Because I heard Raven like Victor Victoria. Is there something going on here that I wasn't? Because I've been away for a while.
Well, I don't know. Raven is such a good name. You want to mention it more than once or twice.
I agree. I'm all for it. Raven, 1-1. I like the whole ring right
I like
there.
it too.
We've
Yep.
already done a kind of like a quick pass in Raven's room. And as we got Buddha there, we got lots of star. What's that? What are those sea? What do you call those things? Starfish.
We got the chakras.
Looks like a bong.
Chakras.
What is that bong, man? What's that red thing?
My bong is downstairs.
Okay.
I have crystals over here with my incense. Okay, I have my plants, my Buddhas, my chakras. I have Jason and Freddy right above me. So it's a whole thing.
Is it Jason versus Freddy poster, or is it? Yeah.
Really?
So it's actually a Jason. I'm sorry, not Jason and Freddy. Jason and Ash. Action figures, and I did did a drawing of them fighting.
Really?
And so I have a whole thing.
I got to say, Jason and Freddy sounded a lot better.
Yes.
It's Jason and Ash. Yeah.
Who's Ash? Who's
from
Ash?
Evil Dead.
Oh yeah.
Army of Darkness.
You cannot have. What is he? Is he like a blood?
Bruce Campbell is phenomenal. Is that?
Oh, he's
absolutely
great.
Phenomenal.
Yeah.
And he wrote one of the
Army of the Undead.
You cannot name.
He was one of the greatest books about being a B actor in Hollywood.
Yes.
I recommend anybody that wants to read his book is well worth it.
What's his name?
And Cobra. It's called "If Chins Could Kill: Confessions of a B-Movie Actor."
Yep.
Great book.
Yep.
Oh, great.
Bruce Campbell is who played him. But it's
There's a sequel,
Ashley Williams. That's his name in Evil Dead. It's oh my God, the original stuff. The original.
Listen to me, you primitive screwheads. This is my boomstick.
Mr. Raven has a T-shirt that says that I bought him because I'm the best.
Oh, you are the coolest wife.
I also want to point out that her
because Mrs. Cobra wired the entire compound, and I'm afraid of her, so she has to always have
Oh, she wired you in too.
It's like Stalag 13 up there.
Evil in S-Mark. He says the name's Ash. Housewares.
Okay.
Shop smart, shop S-Mark.
Listen, let me ask you something. Do you really want an NYPD cop mad at you? Because we haven't introduced him yet. Down there.
I'm not mad. You guys take your time. I'm here.
Down there in
Quiet.
Is our good friend Jocko Johnson. Come on, let's give it up.
Yay. Hi, Jocko.
Hey, guys and girls.
Jocko.
Thanks for putting up with us.
How you doing?
I got no place else to be. I'm good.
Oh, come on. That's what all the famous people say.
Putting up, I'm right here.
All right. How you doing there? Everything okay?
Hanging in.
Yeah, good.
I've been better.
Really? Well, who hasn't? Hey, look, you were on the NYPD for like 10 years, the 80s, right? The 80s?
Yes, sir. Yes,
okay.
sir.
All right. And I ask this all the time. How many hippies did you beat up in those 10 years?
Absolutely none.
None? Sure.
None.
Okay. That's okay. Stick with that story.
Hey, I want to throw in that Jocko's a little bit modest on this, but he went out on a medical before he took his undercover assignments that he's been working and the other work that he's done because he was out there on the front lines doing the deed. And,
right.
He took some pretty hard hits. So it's important to realize that when folks listen, what's this 10-year business? That's because he was on the front lines and he's got the scars to prove it.
There you go. You want to show them to us, or do you wait till we're a TV show?
I won here. Let me see my wrist.
Wow.
I really think this.
It really does.
First of all, I have Raven who's getting closer to the screen to see it, and it's amazing. And I always feel like this should be on a pay-per-view channel.
I can't bend my arm that way. I'm sorry.
Wow! Thank God you gave us the description.
All I could say is it was a good thing they taught us to shoot with both hands.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm ready. So.
Sure.
Okay. I'm glad I asked for that. Jocko. Is that why they call you Jocko?
I guess so.
Okay. So listen, what we're going to do tonight is we're going to talk about cops and UFOs. As it turns out, as we said before, just a lot of interesting UFO reports involve the police. And it's kind of natural because I think a lot of people just call the cops when they see a UFO. The very famous Exeter incident, okay?
Yep.
That basically is such a good story because there are police involved. Basically, a guy was, hitchhiking very close to where we do the show, and he just saw this thing hovering over a farmhouse, and he kind of freaked out. People called the cops and on him, and the cops show up and they see this thing too, and they're just kind of like witnesses, just accidental witnesses, and there's a lot of stories like that, and that's what makes it so compelling and makes you want to believe it. because the cops don't want to report UFOs. That's the last thing they want to do. And they're good witnesses because they've seen it all. Right, Jocko? You've seen it all, right?
Well, you know what it is? And a lot of people, it aggravates me a little bit because, you know, they say like, well, why do we have to believe this guy? Just because he's a cop? Well, yeah, because we're trained observers, you know?
Yes.
When I went and took the civil service exam, the first test, you walk into the room, they hand out these papers, and they were little like pictures and mug shots, and then it was a story about something that occurred, right?
Yes.
And they maybe let us look at it for like 3 minutes. They took it back and said, okay, now let's go on with the test. And they handed out the paper, and, you know, there was multiple guesses and a couple essay things. And then get to about halfway through, and they said, okay, everybody put your pencils down. Those first things we showed you, I'm going to have some questions, hand out a sheet. I'm going to ask you questions.
Man.
We didn't have them.
Yes.
What was the guy looked like? How tall was he? What was he wearing? Where
wow. That's the first day?
That's pretty good.
Well, this is before you even pass the test.
Yeah.
So they wanted to know if we're somebody who, you know, people who kind of absorb stuff, you know.
Yep.
Go into the 7-Eleven. A lot of people don't know what that little thing is on the doorway. The little colors and numbers.
Oh, if you're a little height, sure.
Yeah.
What is it?
It's, you know, when you walk out the door in a 7-Eleven and all these places like, you know, gas stations.
Go ahead.
Convenience stores, they have that tape on the door, like along the edge.
Oh, yeah, like metal tape.
Numbers.
Yep.
Right, and it's got numbers on it and colors. And that's for the people who work there because, and you know, if somebody was in there, they could get an idea how tall this guy was.
Real? Oh, wow, huh?
That's what they're for.
Oh, I can't go and rob the corner store tonight.
Yeah,
Great.
unless you go in
if you do, it's just crouch, okay?
Yeah.
Wear a moo-moo and slouch.
It's
We're
crouch.
platform.
Wear a
shoes.
moo-moo and slouch. That's all. That's the ticket.
You know, people come up with this thing. Well, you know, why do we have to listen to the cops? Well, a lot of them were in the military. You know, we're trained. And when we were in the academy, they would do these exercises all the time. And
Right.
the sergeant would stop the class because somebody was at the door, and they would say something to him, hand him a message, whatever, and leave. And halfway through the class, he'd say, okay, what just happened 30 minutes ago?
Yeah, you could see if you're a good witness, right?
Right. And we would do it with the radio, descriptions. Sometimes we start at one end and get to the other, and by the time it went through 50 people, we were ordering bagels and we got pizza.
Well, look, UFOs and cops. UFOs and cops. Okay. Switchy, you must have a story about UFOs and cops.
I do.
Okay.
This goes back to the UFO Bigfoot wave in Pennsylvania, southwest Pennsylvania, 1973, 1974. There's all kinds of bizarre stuff that was happening. Stan Gordon, researcher Stan Gordon, I've been reading his stuff since the mid-'70s. He had a group that was on the scene. They were they got so well known by the state police that they would refer his group to different sightings and so forth. So they didn't have to actually go and you know, talk to everybody about their UFO sighting. But there was a whole wave of strange events. And this one started at 10 p.m. on October 25th, 1973. And again, southwest Pennsylvania. Stan Gordon got a call from a state trooper. And this was from the Uniontown Barracks in Fayette County. And the incident actually took place a little bit earlier at 9 p.m. And so Gordon organized his team. The trooper set it up so that they couldn't interview the trooper until the next day, but they set it up so they could interview the 22-year-old witness, who they call Steve, not his real name. And he had a really good team. He had George Lutz, was a former Air Force pilot and officer, and a physics teacher. They had a photographer, a radiation defense officer, and some other people. So they meet Steve at the mall. He takes them out to the farm. This is his dad's farm in a rural area of Pennsylvania. And what happened was, about 9 p.m., it started where they saw this large red round object. And it was low in the sky. About 15 people saw this, said it was roughly 100 feet in diameter, made these loud whirring noises, just like something out of a science fiction movie. And but they also heard another noise. And it was like a mournful sound, almost like a baby crying. And they couldn't identify where that was coming from at first. Now, this thing seemed to land. They couldn't tell if it actually landed or if it was just above the ground. And Steve and two other kids broke off from everybody to get a better look. And now the object had returned white and looked more like a dome sitting on the ground, but it was all lit up. Couldn't really tell if it was a metallic object or not. And it was about 100 feet in diameter. The sound was definitely coming from this dome. There was a smell like burning rubber. Now, there was a fence line about 75 feet away, and the fence itself was about 6 feet tall. And there were two figures in the dark walking along the fence line toward them. And at first he thought maybe they're bears, but then as he got a better look, they could tell by the height of the fence. One was about 8 foot tall, one was about 7 foot tall. They were sort of ape-like, Bigfoot creatures, brownish gray fur. They had extremely long arms that went down past their knees, and they had green glowing eyes, which is these are strange looking Bigfoots anyway. Normally, these kind of strange cryptids seem to have red glowing eyes for some reason. So the eyes were probably about the size of 50-cent pieces. Their movements are very rigid. Now, he had a 30-06 with him. The first thing he shot was a tracer bullet. He shot over them, and they kind of turned their head toward him, and he got a pretty good look at their eyes, which was pretty creepy. The second tracer, the taller one, seemed to reach out as if it was trying to grab it. And the creature made kind of a weird whining noise. And then he started shooting at them. He knows he shot it about 3 times. He's sure he hit it at least once. At the moment he hit it, this brilliant dome completely winked out like it wasn't even there, like a light switch. And maybe it wasn't really there. Maybe it was a projection or something. Who knows? Now, there was a glowing area, a circular glowing area left on the ground. Now, in the meantime, they called a state trooper in, and he showed up on the scene. And he, explained they couldn't see the creatures at the time. The trooper showed up, but the guy Steve told him that there's this lit up circular area on the ground. And so at first he thought that it was the headlights from his car that was doing it. He killed the lights, and this glowing light is still there for a period of time. And then they start hearing these loud footsteps and something crashing through the woods. And then it seems to hit the fence. They're assuming it's one of these creatures coming back at them. And he got permission from the police officer to shoot at it again. And that's when it charged the fence again. And then they thought neither one of them wanted to be heroes. So they got the hell out of there. They really didn't know what they were dealing with. And suddenly, one of the nearby farmhouse starts glowing, like there's a light all around it, and then it winks out. His dog kept acting strange, like it was seeing something that wasn't there. It would advance a little bit and stop, and it was focused straight ahead, and it looked like it was trailing something invisible. But it had enough, and it took off.
The dog. Loyal, not exactly Lassie. Go ahead.
So anyway, that's the story. Now, then later on, that's when after that Steve met with Gordon and his team, and they went back and he showed Gordon and everybody. I guess the circular area, the lit up area, was gone, but he described everything that was going on. But then this guy starts to act strange. He starts to rub his face. He's like he's having some kind of spell.
Go ahead.
And he starts to breathe heavily. And all of a sudden, he bellows out this large growl, more animal-like. And actually, that's when the dog took off. I had that incorrect.
I would have taken off.
But dogs, listen, dogs, they know when to look for food and when to get the hell out of there.
They know when to leave.
And this guy's father was there, and he's freaking out. He's thinking, my God, what's happening to my son? And then he growls a couple more times, like this going. So they're giving this guy room.
Yeah, it's like JJ at a park.
Go ahead.
And a couple of the researchers, they started to feel ill, and one of them said he was about to faint. So, and then they have they had this horrible sulfur smell come up. Now that's usually bad news, whether you're in a haunted house or there's a alien craft, whatever the hell it was. Not good to smell.
Always sulfur. Always with the sulfur.
And so. The guy was out of it. He kind of was laying on the ground. It's like he was trying to warn them that something was still in the area and they were in danger. So they got him and everybody went out of the field. They picked up his glasses at one point that had fallen off.
Yes.
And he looks at them and he says, "Who do these belong to?" And they said, "Well, they're yours." And he said, "Well, I can see perfectly right now." So he had perfect vision, supposedly, at that moment.
Okay.
Now, later on, there's another figure in all this, Dr. Bertold Schwartz, who wrote a book called UFO Dynamics. He describes this incident in there. He's somebody that Stan Gordon called in later on he was a psychiatrist, and so he kind of checked out the guy later on.
Yes.
And what they found out was this guy, Schwartz said this guy had some kind of a feud because he did not remember anything that happened in that field. He remembered about seeing the creatures, shooting at them, the strange light and the globe and everything. But when he was growling and acting up, that was gone. But what he remembered was he had a vision. He saw a man with a scythe and a hood.
Yes.
And he was warning him about the future, that if we didn't change our ways, we were going to be in trouble. Well, it sounded like he was in trouble right then.
Yes.
And then in another time, later in the future, this guy had a vision of the world burning. And he was somebody that never, ever had any kind of paranormal reaction to anything.
Yes.
Didn't really even believe it. But then he started having visions of like a plane crash, and it happened. There were just several things that he was able to predict, and he didn't want to have anything to do with this.
Right.
And then, Stan, originally they thought, well, we'd like to put this guy under regressive hypnosis.
Yes.
But then they thought, with this reaction that he had, we just better stay away for a long time.
They didn't want to see him growling again?
Well, years later, they talked about it and they thought, well, maybe we could do it now. So they went to him and he looks puzzled and he says, "What do you mean? You guys came back 2 weeks later and did that?" 2 weeks later, a man dressed in plain clothes and another man dressed like an Air Force officer came to him, and implying that they were connected somehow with Stan Gordon's team. So they put him under hypnosis, said, "We'll get back to you with the results." He said they showed him photographs of UFOs and Bigfoot type creatures to ask him if any of these resembled what he had seen.
Wow.
And so they had this discussion and they left. And of course, he never heard.
Listen, let me ask you, I got two questions.
Yes.
Were they drinking dragon's milk at the time, either one of these people?
I think that after the incident, they probably would have been begging to drink dragon's milk. So, but this was, let's give you one other brief incident. There was a woman that in the midst of all this, I don't remember the exact year, but it was 74, February 74. She hears this commotion out on her porch, and all kinds of UFOs, Bigfoot stuff has been going on, but she's not paying any attention to it. And she sees this thing on the porch. She's never heard of a Bigfoot before. Okay. She describes this thing as a big giant gorilla. It lifts its hands up over its head, and she thinks it's dogs getting into her trash again. And she's ready. She's got a loaded shotgun. She blasts this thing dead center, and it disappears in a flash of light.
Oh no!
There are stories of like Bigfoot's kind of getting into kind of paranormal stuff, disappearing and appearing at certain places and stuff like that. Listen, I do have a second question though. I'm gonna look into Raven's life. You ready? Ready? We might put music behind this. Raven, have you ever thought of being a cop?
Yeah, actually, I have.
I knew it. Go ahead, tell us, please.
I just feel like I could get in people's faces and bother them enough to
Detective Raven.
Yeah.
Yes.
And there's no reason to be the good cop when
you
Detective Raven's around. You don't need a good cop.
I feel like I would be bad cop.
What do you mean?
God.
Oh, you'd be the bad cop, sure. Yeah.
You'd be the naughty cop.
Yeah. No.
Or that.
Coco.
Yeah. One time, I had a Halloween costume. It was the second best Halloween costume I ever had.
No.
Hang on.
How did CC know this?
No.
Hang on.
I did a naughty janitor because everyone always does a naughty maid.
janitor.
The janitors get left out.
That's true.
So I did that. I've never done the cop version, but I had a better Halloween costume, but I can't say it on air because it's
sure you can. We can cut it out. We'll cut it out. Go ahead.
Nobody else will
You
listen.
have to cut it out.
Right. It's just
Don't say-
literally have to.
Raven, don't go there.
right. No,
We'll
What do you
distort
mean,
it a
Coco?
little bit.
We'll mute you.
We won't cut it. We'll distort it a little bit.
It's real bad.
Let's tell
It's-
us.
You
Just
got
tell us.
photos
So
of
bad.
this?
We'll be
You
the
have
judge of
photos
it.
to prove it?
Let us.
So I
We'll get baby
had-
steps. Baby steps.
Evidential
Okay,
procedure
Mac, you
here.
got
Okay, let me check the time.
Baby steps. So I had this that I was dating.
Okay.
And we thought it would be this is so bad. We had the great idea of doing, in so many words, a and a.
Oh.
But I dressed up as.
All right, we're gonna
and
have
then
to. Yeah,
you
that
got to
one.
cut it out. Yeah,
We will take.
you got to
that
cut it out. It's
Okay,
so
we'll
bad.
We'll cut that out.
But it was one of the. I won a prize for it.
Oh, I'm sure you did.
How high does you go?
Was it a
Ones.
I have a question about the naughty janitor.
Yeah, then let's get back to that. It's
Was it or what?
No.
Wow.
Might
There's
have
the
been
cop,
that's how they work.
there's the cop
But-
jumping in. Wow.
But I have a question
Go
about
ahead.
the naughty janitor. Did you
ahead.
have a plunger?
No, I didn't actually. I had a
was a
spray
cop
bottle
thing.
of bleach and gloves, and then 1,000 keys.
keys. Yeah, a lot of keys on the belt or
comes
something.
out.
And that was it. And you would dress. Okay, and so you would dress like a. When you say, I can't ask that.
The bleach was a weapon.
That's-
Squirted in people's eyes.
So anyway,
Who are you looking at?
so you would be a cop. I could see you being the bad cop. Definitely the bad.
Oh,
cop.
Jocko
God,
to be the
bad
good
cop.
cop.
Yeah,
the
and
bad
then they go,
Yeah.
Jocko, go, hey, listen,
Great
you want
team.
Coke? You
Or
want
it
Coke
could just
something?
be
Don't mind
bad
her.
cop, bad cop. Who cares?
Bad cop,
You
bad
know?
cop.
Yeah,
Yeah.
let me
We gotta
light
get
this
answers.
cigarette. Let me get just smoke before she kills me.
Yeah, you get
I'm
some smoke.
I'm going to leave.
So switchy. Wow. So what? So the guy growling, and did he ever get over that? Or
Yeah, he did. He just had these strange psychic attacks. I mean, not attacks, but visions occasionally. But they even had. There was an incident where, in quotes, when we talk about Men in Black, we talk about them in a generic sense. They're not necessarily wearing black suits and wearing fedoras. But there was a woman that witnessed a guy purposely destroy a Bigfoot footprint. And there was a guy that had taken a photograph of it, a kid there with a Polaroid. And the guy grabbed his photograph and ripped it up and took off in his car. So he's actually, like we hear about the Men in Black destroying and confiscating UFO evidence. This guy actually confiscated and destroyed alleged Bigfoot evidence.
Here's the reason I believe in Bigfoot. Ready? Because way before finding Bigfoot and leaving out Big Macs from and all that kind of stuff, I think it was National Geographic actually did, like a kind of episode that you'd really kind of look into it as much as National Geographic could do. This is going back like 20 years anyway. So they go with this guy. He's a Bigfoot hunter. And they go up in the Northwest and they walk 2.5 hours into the woods. 2.5 hours. So they're deep in the woods. And they go to the stream, and there's like several Bigfoot footprints. And you think, well, who would hoax this? Who would walk 2.5? Yeah, if I'm going to hoax Bigfoot, it'd be the stream next to the road. You know what I mean? I'm not going to walk 2.5 miles into the woods. What else could they be? Who would they can't be a hoax. They can't be a hoax.
But
I'm
there's
happy you
a
explained
very
that,
high
Mac.
strangeness aspect to some of them.
I'm happy you explained that because 20 years ago, Raven wouldn't even have known. She'd been about 1 year old, so you had to.
She'd be a -1.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have there was a raging controversy about Raven's age because people will write in, and
Raven's ageless. Let's leave it at that. And let's
Ageless,
keep
right,
moving
okay.
along. We don't need to get ourselves into any kind of difficulties
Okay,
having
all
someone
right, we're not
underage in the program.
I mean, I could be 21 or I could be 200 and I could be a goblin.
baby.
You guys
You're
know.
ageless. You're just
There you go.
ageless.
Okay.
my
Can we
dear.
go back in history? I want to go back to the
Let's go to 21. So anyway, look. So thank you, Switch, for that report. Were you at the end of the report, or did we put a period at
Yes,
the end of the
I just want to say that we could find out all about this in Stan Gordon's book, Silent Invasion, the Pennsylvania Bigfoot casebook, UFO Bigfoot casebook.
I would recommend anything that Stan Gordon writes.
I'd like to make a quick shout out. Stan Gordon, very good friend when I was working in Western Pennsylvania and West Virginia.
Yes.
Him and I got to be pretty friendly. We communicated a lot. a lot of interesting things. I'd say that the occurrences and the things that are happening there to this day rival the UFO highway that you find in Nevada. It's an interesting. Can I on the other end of the magic yellow brick road of UFOs?
Can I share something with you, Coco?
Sure.
He doesn't want to come. He doesn't want to come on the show.
He does want to come on the show.
No, I heard differently.
Well, I talked to him, and he wants to come on the show.
Really? Okay.
Let's get him on.
All right, get him on. Let's see what happens.
Have Switchy handle it.
I spoke at his Kecksburg.
Kecksburg is what, I remember him for. And that's what we would talk to him about. Kecksburg, the Kecksburg case, real quick. Something fell into the woods near Pittsburgh, like mid-'60s. The Army was joining on the spot, but there was also a radio reporter there that actually went in the woods and saw this thing before the Army got there. And he started to do a radio report about it. And the Army came and took this thing away. And then people came and basically got this radio reporter to change his story and to kind of go with their version of events. And that's how it turned out. And then a year later, this guy gets, killed in a mysterious hit and run in like Malibu Beach or something. But Stan wrote about that. And it's really a fascinating case. There's a good chance that it was a Soyuz spacecraft, a Russian spacecraft, because it said it was acorn shaped. And you look at a Soyuz spacecraft back then and they were acorn shaped. But people also saw it. Lots of people saw it change direction in the sky. So I don't think a Soyuz could do that.
Didn't they have something up at that time? And
yeah, they were expecting.
They did.
Something.
It came across Michigan. It's a great story.
They had to be.
And Switchy has been. He's been the guest of honor at a couple of the gatherings. I actually had visited the site. Got some great pictures.
It's a really good story. Yeah,
it's a great group of people around it as well. It's an interesting.
Well, we should get Stan on the show. We should get him on the show.
I will work on it. I will personally work on it.
I'll put Jocko on it. Hey, listen, if you can't make it work, we'll put Jocko on it, okay?
I'll talk to him.
He'll twist his arm a little bit.
Him, right? Okay.
Yeah, nice conversation.
Listen, so we're doing UFOs and cops. What's our time there, JJ? You're driving the train tonight.
Time left in the segment? We can go on forever here, practically.
Okay, the time. What are we at? Where are we at? Should we take a commercial break is what I should say.
Yeah, we're about 30 minutes in this.
Okay, why don't we take a commercial break now? You're listening to Mack Maloney's Military X-Files show here on the Distant Thunder Radio Network. I just keep looking at the mugshots, and I'm looking at this Brady Bunch. We got to be a TV show. We have to start videoing this, right? Aren't we missing it?
YouTubes.
Yeah, how much does it cost to put it on the YouTube?
We can talk about it.
It's free, right?
They pay
you just put it on
those World Wide Web things.
On those the
interweb,
Internet,
HTTP /
You have to edit it though. You got to edit it.
The intranets.
Oh yeah, you got to edit.
Do it live, baby. We just do it live. We could say anything.
No.
Only thing I want is to stay awake.
You really want this to go
You
as
were doing
is,
the baby head there earlier.
Why don't we do this? Why don't we take
a Military X-Files?
We're only going to take about 4 minutes out of this. So why don't we take a commercial break now? We'll be right back. After this, you're listening to Mack Maloney's Military X-Files show here on the Distant Thunder Radio Network.
I was in the hospital with my son for 18 months.
When he got injured, I wasn't prepared, but I knew I had to be strong.
When I was told about John's injury, I was in complete shock. I just remember rushing into his room and giving him a big hug and letting him know I was there.
These veterans and families are just a few of the heroes we serve at Homes for Our Troops. For thousands of severely injured veterans, everyday life is filled with barriers.
It was really the little things throughout the house. Counters that you can't roll up to. I had to drag my wheelchair down steps.
I want to help, but he is so determined.
At Homes for Our Troops, we build specially adapted custom homes with features like wheelchair access, roll-in showers, and automatic door openers that allow them to function independently and focus on their recovery and family.
This house is freedom. It's hope. It's a new beginning.
This house has given me my family back.
To learn more, visit hfotusa.org.
So here on the Distant Thunder Radio Network, this is Mack Maloney, a.k.a. Macaroni. Let me just introduce very, very quickly the members of the gang. The very famous Juan is here.
Hello, Matt. Welcome, everybody.
Spending a lot of time searching online for Rolling Stones underwear.
And I found some too.
You found
boxer briefs.
Good for you.
The long and the regular version. Yep. They got to be just right.
They got to one size fits
fit my package just right. So, just can't wear anything.
Oh, we have to cut a lot out of the show out.
No, we don't.
Why not a little?
We have to cut that out.
Also joining us,
it's all Raven's fault anyway.
Bunker / penthouse. Amanda Cobra, Coco.
Glad to be on the wing. It's a compound. And what do you call the Rolling Stones commando version?
I don't know.
The nuts and bolts.
Oh,
the twigs and berries.
Twigs and berries.
The what?
Ditching.
Oh boy,
it's the let's spend the night together version.
Listen, switchy.
Ain't get no satisfaction. It's kind of jumped to my mind.
Yeah.
No, listen, Swish.
Hey, Cobra, you're playing with fire on that one.
Switch consumes
just a shot away, man. Just a shot away.
Well, what you need now is an emotional rescue.
Switch.
Brown sugar.
Switch. We can go on all night. Switch.
Can't you hear me knocking?
Consumed an eighth of a bottle of wine tonight, so he's loaded. All right, Switchy, how you doing tonight? Do you get the munchies?
I took care of that earlier.
Okay. All right. Okay.
Cobra and I are doing our own sideshow here.
The big breakfast. You had the big lunch because you're in a hurry. You didn't melt it. What'd you have for dinner? Why don't we go the whole 9 yards?
I had some stuff, some leftover stuff, some noodles, chicken, and
Pepto-Bismol.
Really? You don't cook, right? The missus.
Well, I cook a little bit, but nothing. I would never invite people over and cook for them.
Yeah, okay.
I wanted them to go.
You
home.
can't throw spaghetti and meatballs together. You can't do that.
I can cook hamburgers.
Okay, that's a no. All right. We understand.
I mean, not in the microwave. I can actually do it. In a pan.
But don't you cook? You cook bacon in the microwave, right? You've done that in the past.
Yeah, that works better for me. I can do it the other way, but
works okay. No muss, no fuss. Raven, let's go to you. Our favorite good witch, Raven. Now, let me guess.
Hello.
I guess that you would make a good cop. At some point you wanted to be a cop. Yeah. Right? Because you'd slap people around. You'd let them know what's going on.
What? Can't do that.
Now, let me ask you this. But are you a cook? Are you a cook? I'm going to guess you are not a cook. No? She's laughing.
When I have people over, I usually order something and pretend that I made it. Or I buy something that I literally just need to put in the oven and I say I made it. That's all I do.
That's okay. You can get away with it. Good. That's good. Okay. So you're not a cook. So in not to get too off, but is your old man a cook? Is Mr. Larry a cook?
No.
No. Okay.
Mr. Raven.
No.
Mr. Raven.
Listen.
Mr. Raven is a cook.
Oh, really? Yeah. Oh, good. Oh, you married well.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Mm-hmm. All right. That's good because it's.
I did my research.
It's good.
I don't want to lose her.
See, I can cook, but Lois won't let me cook. That's the problem. You know what I mean?
Something's up with that.
Do it, baby. Just do it.
Do you make a big mess and she doesn't want to clean it up?
No, I always clean stuff up, but it's not made with the same kind of attention to detail. Let's say.
I can almost write a book on that, just that alone. But.
You know what I mean? So it's just better to just say, if you want to do it, do it. But I know how to throw stuff together.
What do you call it? A Big Mac?
I'm smart. I'm not
you got
afraid
skills, Mac. You got skills.
Chef. I'm a master chef for you.
All right, let's introduce.
I'm smart.
Our special guest of the night. Look at him. He's drinking something. Jocko Johnson. Jocko, let's give him a hand, please.
Okay, guys. Thank you. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Okay. America's finest.
How you doing? Okay.
Thank you for your service, Jocko.
Very good. Doing good.
Okay. All right. 10 years in the NYPD. Mm-hmm. You gave your 10 years of your life.
Yeah, there's parts of me on an operating room floor someplace. And then they told me to leave.
Wow.
That was it for me. I had no choice.
Well, you told me once that you left at the right time.
Yeah, because I'd probably be in jail by now.
He's in jail.
What?
I thought it was the right pension or something.
No, absolutely not.
Okay.
They make you go dead for like a year, so they don't have to pay you because they average your last 3 years' salary.
As you probably know, a good friend of mine was on the NYPD Blue and NYPD, and he has told me stories. We won't talk about it now.
I'd love
but
to.
He has told me stories that are just like, wow.
You just shoot him my email, see if he wants to chat. Or something. I'd love to talk to him.
Yeah. He's yeah. I mean, he used to say to me, he'd go, they used to break up a lot of fights. You know,
Oh, yeah.
they're in Queens for a while, they're in the Bronx for a while, and he says all you do is you arrest the winner and you send the loser to the hospital.
I don't want to be back.
Yeah. So, but anyway, okay.
Because if you come back, everybody loses.
Right? Yeah. You get that right. He also had a very elaborate TV set up in his patrol car so they could watch Johnny Carson every night.
I had that little TV. We had radios, everything. My partner was an old DJ, so he used to make tapes.
Really?
It's great.
They had like a little satellite dish on their car. But anyway,
got to be in touch.
To
I'll tell you something funny about that.
Okay.
You know, the federal law requires that you have a AM radio in a police car.
Okay.
And the city didn't want to give us a radio because they thought, we have the radio on, we couldn't listen to the police radio. So they would pay extra to have them taken out.
You mean an AM radio? An AM radio? Right. Yeah. Okay. Right. Sure.
So then they realized afterwards that they were breaking the law. And they got wind of it. And they said, "No, you can't take these out. You got to leave them in the car."
Yeah.
And so they left them in there. But who the hell listens to AM?
But why? I know, but why would they? Why is it a law that the cops have to listen to AM?
For the emergency broadcasting.
Yes, that's right. Okay. Yeah. Huh. That's just. Did you ever listen to it? Did you ever listen to the radio as you're driving around?
No, you kidding me? No, only a police radio.
Okay.
We had television. We had radios. We had CD boombox.
Entertaining enough.
We'd pull over the side. We'd throw out the cardboard. Little kids would do all the breakdancing. That was community policing, man. They loved it. We'd let them do it on the hood of the car.
Listen.
We were great.
That's the cut that out. But this is my friend told me. Okay, he says that they at one point he was at a precinct. This is nothing to do with UFOs, and they're on the Hudson River and the East River and they see a floater.
Oh,
so they would just get like two guys with two long bamboo poles. Get the poles, and they just poke it till it went down into another precinct. Right?
Absolutely.
No.
Absolutely. If he's lucky, he didn't first. Sometimes they, when they're floaters and they become,
Or
call the Coast Guard to come out, pick them up. I love those calls.
We handled our own stuff around the city.
Oh my
we had a large boat force, patrol boat force.
When I was in high school, and I actually got a letter in high school for crew. Okay, ready?
Yep. Crew,
in the Charles River, the river that they
seen them there.
sang the song about, Dirty Water.
Right.
And I wasn't on the crew at the time, but these guys, they found a dead guy floating in the water, and the first thing they did is went for his wallet.
The cops or
my God.
The cops or the crew guys?
No, they had the dead guy.
They had to find out who he was.
They had to find out who he was. Yeah, this is,
I'm sure that's exactly why they went for the wallet.
At Boston Technical.
Absolutely.
The boss gonna show up and say, "Who is he? You got any ID on him?" Hold on, Chief.
Hey, Mac, was that the Emerson College crew team or what?
Me.
Excuse me, JJ has a question. Go ahead, please.
Was that the Emerson College crew team?
No, that's the Boston Technical High School. Crew team. Yeah. I sank 2 boats in 2 years, but I got my letter. That's all that counts.
Cobra, you could have used him in the military. Sinking boats.
Yeah.
You sank other people's boats. Yeah, other teams' boats. Is that
no, our boats. Yeah, no. Yeah.
I got to get a picture like that, but I want the one with the bug head with, all the gizmos in the helmet they got now.
Okay.
Help me up with that, Cobra?
Maybe. He looks like he's doing the baby sleep now. Hey, listen, are you working on your report? You're going to do a report now on cops and UFOs, correct?
Yeah, I have a particular one that we're going to feature. It has a lot of interesting angles.
Okay.
I do want to add one thing, though.
Please.
It's funny that both Switch and myself, there seems to be like a real apex, a real high water mark for police involvement in the 70s with UFOs.
I thought he was going to talk about his hairdo. I thought you were going to talk about your haircut. Go ahead, please.
No, there's nothing to talk about the haircut. Do it myself.
Can I just ask you before you start your report, Raven? Could you just look at Coco's haircut? You were
I
said.
think it looks good. I think
Really?
you did a fabulous job, and I think Switchy's hair looks great as well.
Good. You should see mine. I got a ponytail going down the back of my neck. I got the Mack look going in.
You got a party going on back there.
No, it's too long. It's too lazy to get it done.
Okay. All right. I'm sorry, Coco.
No, nothing to be sorry about, Mac. Now that we've got my coiffure appointment out of the way,
that's the regulation cut, man. It looks perfect.
Yeah,
he's squared away.
Do what you got to do.
He knows what he's doing for sure. Coco, continue.
Thank you, Raven. As the bad cop, I appreciate.
Yeah, but it looks like you missed a spot. I'm sorry. Listen, it looks like
it's a little gray and it's a cowlick.
Doesn't it look like you missed a spot up top there? Or is it just me?
It's gray and it's a cowlick.
It's a zoom distortion.
Right there, you see.
It's a cowlick.
I got a cowlick too.
More than but
it is what it is. Fuck it.
My whole life.
Why do they call it a cowlick?
There.
Okay, here we go. Let's go. So UFOs and state cops up in Maine.
Right. Well, it's the high water mark seems to be the 70s. Police involvement into the UFO phenomenon. It's just an observation. I remember it seems to me a countless number of it. I think it's what we talked about earlier, that you have so many trained observers that you find within the police department. You find people reaching out to them when it comes up. It was featured in Close Encounters. It was a big part of the part when the UFOs were being seen by so many people. So it's an interesting part, but it seems to me that has dropped off, and it precipitously has dropped off in the last couple decades. Changes of, I think, socially it goes on, people carrying cell phones, people making recordings and things like that. So I just throw that in there. But this is October 27, 1975, Loring Air Force Base. A interesting case from a lot of angles, but since we're really focusing on law enforcement as a role in this, the main players for the Air Force are the 42nd Security Police Squadron, which are basically the policemen, the law enforcement angle of the Air Force. They're responsible for the security of the base, as well as all the other functions that would happen with a police department, but within the closed community of an Air Force base. It's also being a stack base. They have extra duties that are involved with special weapons that could or maybe were there, not confirmed or denied that were there. And they observe a aircraft, some kind of phenomenon that flies into the base, which is very unusual. And their reports are that it would be around 300 feet. It had some lights. The different parts of the report vary on what happened with those lights, what the colors were. And it triggers a whole bunch of activity that goes on. Of course, the big interest was the fact that it would surround a nuclear storage facility that was at that time at Loring, since closed base. The next part that comes up with this is the default is it must be a helicopter. And of course, they're very concerned why an unauthorized aircraft is flying onto this base. And they go through and they're trying to figure out if there's any kind of air traffic control tracks that would that align with it. And it doesn't seem to appear. The interesting part is, although trained observers, folks that are spending a lot of time on the flight line for security, you see the same thing that happened in Rendlesham Forest with the security police that responded to the lights that were seen there in the UK about almost 10 to 12 years later. Okay. They attribute it to a helicopter, but you don't hear a lot of reports about sounds that would be associated with it. Because it's a SAC base, because it's the Cold War, we're really still at a very high pitch for the Cold War at this point. Lots of reports go out, lots of calls go out, trying to determine if anyone else has approached the base. We even reach out to Canadians. By my estimation, this particular case that occurred starting on the 27th ran for approximately a week of an activity. We have the FBI involved, the Maine State Police involved, the OSI, which is the Special Investigatory Branch of the Air Force. We have the FBI that responds in some degree, and you have a lot of activity all the way across the board, but it centers mainly on law enforcement to try to gain some kind of measure of what the activity, what happened on.
Right.
And the reason that it's important, and I think Jocko could probably provide a really good understanding of this, one of the things besides being trained observers and usually selected for some kind of ability to have talented as well as refining their talent, law enforcement tends to make good records. They tend to put things down on paper. They tend to record things because that is the type of activity that they engage in all the time for everything that goes on.
Yep.
Everything from a simple traffic stop all the way up to the point of something that falls into this category.
You got to write it up.
You got to write it up. You got to make a record. You got to show where you were. You have to show who you spoke to, because it's critical. The follow up to have witnesses and names,
lighting, everything.
Right.
But here's the thing, though. Let me ask you this, though, real quick. Who has jurisdiction over something, Loring Air Force Base? I mean, do they rely on the cops to look into this thing?
Well,
when
it happens, when it happens within the confines of a base, the base takes precedent on activity. So let's say that you had a civilian or a guest that was on board this, and then they were involved in some kind of activity that the police would detain. The security police would respond to that initially, and then usually there's some kind of a turnover to civilian authorities for that activity. In fact, that plays prominently in a number of incidents that occur out in Area 51. So if there's federal jurisdiction in the military, pretty quickly, once the military, whatever branch is involved, has an apprehension or detainment, then usually someone like the FBI will come in. And
they can't help themselves. They have to put their nose in places where it doesn't belong. So.
And then you have, very well spoken. The other thing I found interesting about this particular case, just really working into the UFOs, everyone latched on to this had to be a helicopter.
Right.
But as I said, it always comes up short that it didn't have the sounds that go with it. Most people, especially on a cold night, in October where Loring is at, is generally going to be a fairly crispy evening, would hear the sounds of a helicopter and be able to recognize that.
Right.
And this particular incident always lacks this and it doesn't seem to draw a lot of attention. Here's a series of questions that were asked when it was researched. Were they identified or traced? No. The overflights were never identified as helicopters. Unsuccessful attempts were made to trace it as cited to be an aircraft.
Right.
Was it ever definitely established that they were helicopters, or was the assumption made up based on sound, light? No, the helicopter assumption was based on the sound and light perceptions of witnesses. But yet, no one ever talks about the slap of a rotor blade, which is very distinctive, or the sound of the tail rotor making any kind of noise. Right. Was there markings on the aircraft? No markings were identified. Did they appear to have any known type of helicopter? No. How is it possible the unidentified aircraft can get inside the Air Force Base without being detected? Well, that is not all that hard. Flying into airspace, especially in a fairly remote base, in the 70s would not have been all that difficult.
Okay.
And they did not have helicopters available right there at Loring to respond, to give chase to the intruder.
Right.
And it looks like it did when it retreated towards Canada. There was a lot of discussion about penetrating Canadian airspace and all the things that would go on with that, which can have certain sensitivities, but also seems to be rather silly to me with the kind of relationship we have with the Canadian state and even that. Right. So there's a lot of interesting aspects. Go ahead.
All right. So if I remember right, that this is a subchapter in UFOs in wartime.
Yes, it is.
Still, on sale everywhere. And the events in Loring were a part of a kind of a chain of events that went across the country. UFO sightings over our ICBM bases all the way to Colorado, Malmstrom Air Force Base. And these things during that week, they would frequently happen all across the country. And they redacted did the report, and they redacted, if I remember right, because Parade Magazine actually did a story on this, and they redacted what they were, and they just filled in the word helicopter. And as you say, it's like helicopters, you can hear a helicopter coming 5 miles away. I mean, and if the thing is hovering over you, you can't talk. It's just that loud. And no one ever reports, a sound from these things. It's just something they had to kind of put in there. This is, and Peter Jennings, R.I.P., a couple of years before he died, he did a special, I think it was 3 hours long, UFOs, what are they, or something. And he devoted a lot of time to this, and really kind of look into it. What's going on here? It's not the Russians. The Russians don't have the technology to do what we're talking about here. And so what was it? It's not our own intelligence services, because I don't think that they would do it in a string, to 4 or 5 bases every night for a week. Halloween week, I think maybe one of them was, I don't think they do it like that. I think they do it one at a time. I just don't think they'd.
Knowing how much money we've spent on the technology to make quiet helicopters, and I'm sure that our opposing forces have been involved. And when you do those kinds of things, the types of helicopters are either a stealth in their radar signature or stealth in their oral signature that comes out of the systems. You make a lot of compromises on capability and what is how it's going to work. This particular incident also has corresponding events at Brunswick Naval Air Station, all across Maine. To date, my great passion for the Triangle aircraft that are seen over the state of Maine. We get reports of it all the time, and it some of the most accurate or compelling reporting are young folks that look up and see the stars blocked out in the shape of a triangle, and they talk about it, and they'll bring an adult into the attention to see that, and it looks like it's a refueling track. And if it's part of the world, you can see that fairly often. And we talked about Ross earlier in the show.
Yes.
Ross and I are convinced that the aircraft, some of the activity that's here, is setting up for a jump over the pond to go into England. And we're convinced that in one of the bases that's supposed to be closed in Britain, that's where they were recovered. But this one doesn't fit those kinds of synopsis or those kinds of conclusions, because this repeats over a number of times. The Royal Canadian Mounted Police are involved. They're asked. You talk about the other bases, so all the security forces have been alerted. It tends to center around possible nuke stockpiles or weapons depots where these are at, and we seem to have attention at it.
Okay, there's
go ahead.
No, you go.
What always amazes me is that none of these aircraft or these, if it occurred, it's not part of the record, were never engaged in any way to be shot at.
Funny.
To me, that's always been amazing to me that hasn't happened. And I think back to around the same period, not a UFO event, disgruntled National Guard member who flew a helicopter and landed it on the lawn of the White House.
Yep.
He was engaged by a number of small arms from the Secret Service.
Okay.
After that, they decided it'd probably be a good idea to probably put something like a Stinger or some kind of associated man-launched missile system to protect the White House. But up to that point, no one had that capability at the White House. And it amazes me to some extent that we didn't have that kind of capability ready to protect a nuclear arsenal that is sitting in bunkers. It just it amazes.
But two questions. First of all, and I agree with you, but the thing is that for you to put, I mean, what we're talking about is the ICBM bases like out in the mid part of our country. There were like hundreds of these things, these missile silos that are out in the middle of nowhere, and they're not even manned. They're, controlled electronically. I think for every 10 silos, you have like a manned kind of, control house. But how could you put, I mean, this is what these UFOs were.
Mac, there's a huge difference between an ICBM in its silo with a hardened cover on that.
Right.
And when you have dug out a bunker, covered it with, after you pour your concrete and steel and you cover it, those sit above the ground.
Right.
And you're on a base that usually means it has aircraft, which are extremely susceptible to sitting, when they're sitting out on a ramp or if they're even in a open hangar facility, that you don't have the capability to protect them for an intruder that flies into the airspace.
No, but what I'm saying is you can't put like SAM missiles at every.
No, but you can have Stingers, which are man portable. The Army has people that soldiers that are ready to carry it. It's not that complex of a system.
Yeah, but you know what? To do it
Seaworth
automatically,
gun.
you do it automatically because you're not going to have two soldiers sit out at every missile silo.
No, but you have people that are patrolling all the time with M16s and sidearms. How they cannot carry and their riot shotgun? How they cannot carry a SAM system?
Well,
That kind of a case. And then, all right, let me say I'll see the argument to you. You're correct.
Go ahead.
After the second night that this is going on,
true.
Why haven't you changed your status?
Right.
Why haven't you said, okay,
So what
we
are you
definitely
saying?
have a problem here? They
You
should have
think
engaged it.
But
It's
what are
sort
you
of like
saying? Are you saying that they are intelligence forces and they were told not to fire on them?
I don't know. I'm not drawing any conclusion. I just don't understand why it didn't change. And I'm going to bring that to something that's happening currently. You showed pictures of the Navy ships being swarmed by these interesting UAPs all over the Pacific Ocean, all over the Atlantic. And the ships don't engage. Doesn't make any sense to me.
Why
Either
is that?
You don't engage because it's our stuff and you're told to stand down and that's not part of the story. Or I just cannot believe that you have ships of the line, bases that carried nukes back in the 70s, and we weren't protecting them.
I agree with
you. It just doesn't make sense to me. It has to
I
be more
agree.
than that story.
And guys, you don't even need them to be manned. I mean, you could have a system set up by they're probably carrying B-61 freefall nukes in these bunkers.
Wow.
And you have a system put up there where it's a box and it has the Stingers or the Sidewinders, whatever the naval version would be, that they set them up on land. And they're controlled in a tower or on a bunker somewhere by somebody with a radar,
In the 70s,
in
the 70s, I don't think that was probably as prevalent.
Yeah, we're talking about the 60s and the 70s.
Right.
There were 50 caliber machine guns that were available.
Are you talking Nike Hercules stuff?
But here's the thing, though. You know what? But Coco makes a good point, and this is it: is that I have written about this, but the whole ICBM flapping this went on for years and years, where they would build a new ICBM silo and there'd be UFOs over it, and there's just stories upon stories about these things flying over and turning off the aiming systems and the power and all that kind of stuff. But you never hear a story about us engaging them ever. You never hear of us shooting at them. That's a really good point.
Could it be that we were testing them ourselves? I mean,
or something. Sure.
What do you think about the TR? The triangles. Do you think they're ours?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely no doubt in my mind.
I do too.
No doubt in my
so
mind.
we're not ever going to shoot at those. Now that time and period of time, were they flying those Comanches, testing them? The old RAH, what was it, the number?
Not in the 70s. The Comanche came in the 80s. That's a project of the 80s. You may be thinking of the Cheyenne. You might be thinking of the Cheyenne, but the Cheyenne, not enough numbers to ever be around. And again, the sound that comes out of these aircraft is distinctive.
Because you gotta know it's our stuff, but you're not going to shoot it. I would think.
Well, that's but you would think someone would come out and say, "Well, we were told not to shoot at this stuff," and they haven't. Let me just. I'm going to ask JJ a question. Okay, we need an update on his Rolling Stones underwear. JJ, please.
I haven't pulled the trigger on any of them yet, but
okay. Are you looking? You're shopping?
Bookmarked
go buy them right now.
I got it right here on my iPad.
That could be the title of the next hit song.
He's going over the sizes. He's going over the different sizes.
Let's all go get him so he can't.
Let's get the small size.
Actually, it's reasonably priced. It turns out I need
the
new
extra
underwear.
small, Mac.
Oh, wow. You said it, Juggy. Not me.
And I think that they're suitable to wear as outerwear, too, not just underwear.
Really? Okay.
Wear it on the outside of your tights. Wear it on the outside of your tights.
Great.
We'll meet you there. Okay?
Outside of your tights, JJ. That is you, baby.
Yeah. Exactly.
Raven, are you throwing up a little bit?
I just want, something to think of.
I mean, technically, I guess anything could be worn as outerwear.
Yep.
Go ahead.
If you really try, then sure.
It's the effort that counts.
Now, what's acceptable, and
anything goes these days, Raven.
Can I ask you a question? Is the cat still snoozing during the show? The cat has been asleep for an hour and a half of the show.
The cat is so cute.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
They sleep 23 hours a day.
She's just chilling.
We're doing that job. Okay. So anyway, Juan, can we get a little timeline on this? What are you saying?
Let's see. We got 2:32 into it. We're 31 minutes into the segment.
Okay.
We got a 48-minute window.
48?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So we got another 15 minutes or so, give or take? Okay.
Yeah.
Super duper. So anyway, Jocko, let's go to you.
Yes, sir.
What's the name of the town you live in, please?
He's not at liberty to say.
I don't want to name this on the air.
Yeah.
Is it?
Oh no, let's just say South Carolina. Let's keep it under the covers.
Yeah.
But let me ask you this though: how can you go from New York City? Did you live in the city? Where did you live where you were serving?
In Brooklyn.
You were living in Brooklyn, so you go from Brooklyn to. Isn't that a big change?
Yeah, but it was a welcome one.
You
understand? I was like, burnt out, boy.
Oh, okay, yeah, okay. Things are slower down there.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Are you kidding me?
Okay, well, how can they
it's
not?
Like water and molasses.
Okay, don't you miss the action? Don't you miss the?
Well, the first couple months we had trouble like even sleeping without all the gunfire and the sirens and stuff.
Okay, yes, the
noise was loud.
Right.
The noise was too loud, and then get used to it. But no, I mean, there's enough going on, and I saw enough because I was involved in it too down here, so it wasn't like I missed a lot. I miss the food. I miss the things being open 24/7.
Yeah, you ain't kidding, man.
I miss that kind of stuff.
I lived for about 6 months in New York City. Okay, on West 68th Street, right on the park. Okay, and kind of down the street from where John Lennon got shot.
Mm-hmm.
And I would lay in bed at night, and the windows were open, and I would hear, pop, pop, pop. And I think, someone's just, lighting off fireworks. But it's like every night, pop, pop, pop. I'm going, what are all with the fireworks there, And I realized that I lived on the corner near Central Park.
One of my big things
Those aren't fireworks.
I lived on a road on the street where it was one of the main thoroughfares back to this task force base where I worked.
Okay.
And the precinct also had you had to get down this way to get to the local precinct. And the guys all knew, that I lived there.
Yep.
So, we'd keep an eye on each other's houses, wherever we knew where we all lived.
Yep.
And every time they come by the street, burp, 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 that yelp and whatever. Yeah. I mean, every
siren,
night, in the middle of the night, it's like this guy used to it, I guess.
Yeah.
I could tell the difference between the smell of like the diesel bus, the regular car, the truck, like what you could smell it, just know what it was.
Yeah. Wow. You're right about New York City. There's one thing about New York City is that the food is always really kind of good, no matter where you go.
No matter what time you get it to.
Yeah, like delis and stuff. I was in a deli once, and a guy in front of me wanted to have a pastrami sandwich with mayonnaise on it. The guy wouldn't make it for him. He says, "There's no way."
He said, "Get out!"
No way.
Kicked him out of the store, right?
It's against the law. As a matter of fact, for Father's Day, my family got me a care package thing where I don't know if you gauge, about Katz Deli in New York City.
Oh yeah, sure, Katz, yeah.
So they have, and we used to go there, on the job all the time. And so what we did was they ordered it, and we had like a dinner for like 5 or something, and all of us came over, we all ate it. Pastrami, corned beef, the knishes, matzo ball soup, the rye bread from New York, the pitcher's rye, and it was great.
Excellent.
Pickles, the whole thing.
We used to go to the Stage Deli. All right, I'd go there for lunch, a lot of business lunches, and man, they would give you a sandwich that
it's like
it's like a foot high.
Ridiculous.
It's unbelievable. But they had all that food, that matzo ball soup, and all that jazz.
And you go into Katz, and they give you a ticket, right? And so they'll write on each ticket. And they got these guys there. They're all from Europe, like these East Europeans, and they just know this is what they do,
Yes.
They have like holsters with their knives in them, They'll go back to the steamer because the guy's coming out like with a cart filled with these giant pots with all the pastrami and the corned beef, and they throw it in the steamer, and the guy will whip it out and cuts it by hand,
Yeah.
And he takes a little dish and he puts a few pieces and he puts it on the counter. And if you like it, no, I like it a little lean. I want it more fat, whatever.
Yeah.
You throw a $5 up there now,
$5.
And forget it. He'll make you a sandwich like this. Like 14 people,
Yep.
The more you throw them, the bigger it gets.
Oh, man. I would take so many of those Stage Deli sandwiches home on the train with me. halfway, I'm just like just smelling these things. I just want to eat them. They're just so good. So good.
Sounds like a road trip. Is it still like that?
The dish when the dogs were the best. The eggs, bacon and eggs, and any diner, you know. They used to have like Italian sausage-sized breakfast sauce.
Had a lot of fun down in New York City in the go-go 80s.
Zones.
Yes. I'll tell you that Raven and I's father, we were in the same business. I'm sure he went down to New York City a lot, but I would go down to New York City.
Mac, you powered back then, didn't you?
On GE's dime. And I'll tell you, baby, to be down there on someone else's dime is the cat's meow. It really is.
I mean, we had Master Shield back then. So.
Oh, Master Shield. Okay.
Did you guys, did you ever get locked up back then in the 80s? Because I don't know.
Locked up? Locked up for what?
No, not exactly.
No discount summons or
or should you have been locked up?
I probably let him go. I would have liked him.
Yeah.
There's a lot of instances where it depends.
I would have liked you, Mac. I would have let you go.
Really? Yeah. Okay. Cops don't usually like the way I look, though. Cops usually kind of tend to slap me around.
If you're running around the street half drunk, I can relate.
Half drunk, okay. All right. No, I never had any trouble with the New York cops because usually when I was out there, my friend, the New York cop was with me, But I'll tell you one thing, though. We were walking down the street once. We're on 8th Avenue, right? We've just come from a rib joint. And there's these like two guys sitting on a wall.
Is it called Wiley's Ribs?
At a corner. Yeah, I think it was Wiley's Ribs.
I had my bachelor party.
Really? Yeah, it's a great place. So anyway, I think
the Chinese guy owns it.
So that's the place. Ribs. Yes.
I know it.
Holy cow. Rib Ying. So these two guys are sitting there, and this cab like kind of screeches up beside them, and my friend the cop goes, "Watch this." And these guys jump out of the cab and they start beating the crap out of these.
Street crime. Ain't that
Yeah. They were cops, besides just taxi cab drivers. And they start beating these two guys and arrest them, and off they go.
That was me.
I was like, okay, there you go.
That was me at one time.
It was all over in about 30 seconds.
Livery cabs, because when we patrolled, the yellow taxis wouldn't pick anybody up.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. New York City. It's changed a lot there, my friend.
But you see how you said, like, you almost knew that you didn't want to act up there because you knew what would happen, right?
Right.
And that's gone today, and that's why you have the problems we have.
You think so? Yeah.
Absolutely, because the police don't rule the streets for the good people anymore.
Well, my friend, his last week on the job, he was in anti-crime, they call it, I guess, anti-crime. Yeah. So they're chasing this guy and chase him through the streets of Queens or someplace, and he finally crashes his car, and he's with an old veteran, probably like you, and the veteran says to him, after they finally get the guy kind of under control, he goes, "Now for the beating."
No, what are you talking about?
Well, never. It's just a story. Who knows?
I heard guys would tell stories about that you run, you're only going to go to jail tired and bleeding. So I don't know if that's true or not.
Never run. Yes, right. Never run, and don't give them any back talk. And that's
understand.
We'll figure it out later.
That's the way it is. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Raven, have you ever been arrested, Raven?
I haven't been arrested, but I've been pulled over like 6 times. But I've never gotten a ticket.
I've seen that whole scene. Convicted, never convicted.
All right, here we go.
Never gotten
a ticket. Red sports car.
Let's put some music for this.
I was in so 3 of the times I was in a red Blazer, and the other 3 I was in a yellow piece of crap.
Yeah, you deserve a ticket for driving anything yellow.
Yes. Go ahead. Yes, right.
City ordinances about cars falling apart.
Did you talk to the cop himself, or did you just sit there and cry?
No, I actually. So the first time I was ever pulled over, I was late to my shift. This is like 12 years ago when I worked at.
When you were like 13, so you were driving a car underage.
Yeah, when I was 13. Yeah.
No wonder they pulled you over.
And
I was heading to work at a national coffee shop. Let's just
establishment.
Say.
Yes.
Okay, go ahead.
Establishment.
Yes.
And I was doing 85 and a 55 because I was super late.
Okay.
And I got pulled over by a statey.
That is late. Okay.
Yeah. And he saw my polo that I had on that, clearly I was going to work at this donut establishment.
You're in.
Dunkin' Donuts, was like, He's like, go ahead, sweetie. He's like, just don't do it again. And I was like, you got it.
So you're going to
But I
jail for
did it
calling
again.
somebody sweet.
See, they never called me sweetie.
Mac,
Go
I
ahead.
need to throw a quick story in here.
Go ahead.
A million years ago, stationed in New Orleans, I see a police officer collapse. He was chasing a suspect along the Mississippi River. He collapsed. What had happened is he was wounded in the apprehension, and he passed out from his wounds. We flew him immediately to the hospital.
Okay.
After that, I could have killed someone in New Orleans because I had brought this police officer to a hospital direct with the helicopter. I could have killed somebody, and they would have said, "Okay, let's get his side of the story." I could have been guilty as sin, but so my then wife was working on the other side of the bank. She gets pulled over one morning, going Raven level speeds of activity.
85.
And she did not work at a coffee shop, but she thought her way to get out of this was possibly to hike up her skirt a little bit while she's getting in there, just to try to. And she
doesn't work.
He comes back. He comes back with her license. He comes back with the license and says, "Is your husband a lieutenant in the Coast Guard?" She says, "Yes." "Please don't speed, ma'am," and hands her the license.
Was it the skirt or you or both?
It was me. It had nothing to do with the skirt. And she was so pissed off that the skirt didn't work.
The skirt works.
Hold on.
The skirt works.
We're getting word in. A skirt works. Okay.
Because on a different occasion, here
comes the big story. The big story.
skirt on, and I had like a V-neck on. I was like partying, and I was heading home, and I got pulled over, and the cop came up, and I hiked it up. Very
bad,
a little bit.
The Rolling Stones underwear level? Is that what we're saying?
Hang on,
the
Jocko.
Rolling Stones underwear was hanging out, and he was like, "Okay, don't speed anymore." And I was like, "Okay." And then I did it again.
Okay.
Still haven't gotten a ticket.
Still haven't gotten a ticket. Okay. It's a mystery,
I just
Jocko.
keep getting a slap on the wrist.
I have no idea how she does it.
I don't know. I mean, listen, Juan, let me ask you, Juan, how are we doing time-wise there, bud?
4 minutes left.
4 minutes left. So why don't we bring the? I should
make
be
it
able
3
to know
minutes
now because Switch is showing the image of the train wreck. Thank you, Switch.
There it goes.
All right, so Jocko, let's say thank you.
Thank you.
To you first, okay?
Right. Great to be here.
You're going to
Good to see
hang,
you, Jocko.
You're going to hang with us, though, right, Jocko?
Yes, sir.
After the show's over. Okay. Thank you for joining us. You have your NYPD hat on. Okay. And you got what's
my
that?
My hair's down to my toes.
Is that a Motley Crue t-shirt you have on tonight? You're into the Motley?
M1 Abrams tank, baby.
Oh, really? Okay.
Wow.
That's my backup gun.
Okay. Okay. I'll send you a book about the Abrams tank someday, okay?
Yeah, I'll be waiting.
It's a book that. That's
going to leave a mark. That was you just ran from the cop.
Wait, hey,
and he caught up with you. That's what that was.
You can't beat it. Max, I sent you my address again.
I have your address. I sent you pins. Didn't you get the pins there?
I know, but you asked me 10 times.
Okay, wow.
Jocko. Call the note, my boy.
Thank you, Jocko, for joining us.
Hey, thank you. I was showing you how to up here. Look, I got it.
There you go. Yeah.
I got it on the flag, too. See, it's up on the flag, too.
Spread them around.
I am.
Coco, I'm going to go to you next. Thank you for joining us. Haircut
As
and
always,
all.
sir, thank you for being on the wing.
Haircut and all.
Yeah, thank you, Cobra.
All right. What's Mrs. Cobra think of that haircut? I'm just curious.
Oh, she's satisfied with it.
Okay with it? Satisfied with it. Okay, I understand. Did she say it's okay, it's fine?
No, she said look good. So
look good.
That's not dangerous territory, but
Okay. All right. Be careful though. Be careful.
We don't. Oh yeah. I'm flirting. There's no doubt about it.
All right. Okay. Switch. I'm going to you next. Okay.
Yes.
All right. You're going to hang with us though. Do you want to hear the fake ad?
Absolutely.
Okay. Thank you, Switch, for joining us tonight. We really appreciate it.
It was my pleasure.
And you're going to send a bill from Denny's to the show? You want to have the show pay for it?
Yeah, notice when you get your military discount, he's willing to jump in. I love that.
I'm going to wait for some of that beefsteak, eggs with gravy, and 2 sausage, 2 bacon, toast, orange juice.
Let him go on, folks. It's better than like a surf and turf where he's going to get a porterhouse and a lobster. That's $150.
I think I need Switch to be my partner on this thing.
Thank you, Switch. I could see Jocko and Switch being like a team, a cop team.
We could have our own theme music, our own TV show. You know?
I got the theme. I got the theme music.
He's got the theme music.
He already has the theme music. There you go.
Okay.
And you guys can like apprehend someone and then go to
Like,
Denny's.
it should be something like a variation of a 5-0.
Go to dinner.
And Raven could be like the chick at the office.
Yes.
Pardon me?
Yeah.
Right. Yes.
Always late to the office and always speeding. But she
no
works,
one cares.
works for the police, so she gets out of the ticket.
I work for the police, so I'm like, here's my bag.
There
I'm
you go.
late.
Oh, wow.
Police assistant in the office. That's right. The PA.
Raven,
Okay, time for the
time
plugs.
has come in the night for us to say farewell to you, Raven. Okay.
Thank you so much for having me. This is so much fun.
Thank you and your bun for joining us tonight.
My bun is so happy to be a part of the formation, as Coco says.
Tell Friday the
bun
cat.
is officially part of it. Friday is.
Friday is still sleeping.
Uh-oh.
Okay.
Oh, she's on my desk.
On the desk. Okay. Well, she's
My,
awake. That's
my other desk.
okay.
Doing the books.
And also tell Scotch we said hey. Okay, Scotch and water.
I will
And,
tell Scott she said hey.
Thanks for joining us, and we'll talk to you very soon. And so, one time for the plugs. Is that
Time
where
for the
we
plugs.
Are?
Yep.
Okay. All right. So,
wrap
Homes
it.
for Our Troops. Homes for Our Troops is a military charity. Please Google them. Or go online and visit Homes for Our Troops. What they do is that they build houses for Afghani and also Iraqi war veterans who may have lost a limb in the service of our country, and they put together these houses for them that just make it a little bit easier for them to get around, wider staircases, wider hallways, things like that. And then when they complete, they give them the keys, no mortgage, nothing. They deserve it. Homes for Our Troops. Okay, just go online, Google Homes for Our Troops. They give 88 cents to every dollar go to our veterans, and that's a very, very high amount of money, in the charity world. Okay, Homes for Our Troops. Also, our good friend Raj Shop, the People's Mosquito Project. Raj Shop and his Mad Englishman friends are putting back together a warplane from World War II called the Mosquito. At the time, the British were running out of steel, so they made this of wood. Only the Brits would do this and put 2 Rolls-Royce engines on it. And it turned out to be the fastest airplane in World War II for about 2.5 years. It was so fast, sometimes they didn't put machine guns on it because,
because they were able to outrun the bullets, believe it or not.
Outrun the bullets. People's Mosquito Project. Please Google them and throw them a couple bucks if you can. And I think that's it for the plugs, right, Wani?
Yeah, right.
And thank you to everyone. I'll say the winner's names in the World War II trivia contest. Susan Capoli, I hope, Vic Gaines, Allison Spinelli. They were the runners up, and they're going to receive a free copy of the very groovy new Clue game, courtesy of winningmoves.com. And also our grand prize winner. Let's give him a round of applause. Covert Man.
Mr. Covert.
Mr. Covert from the UK.
Won the Risk in Europe grand prize. And that'll be going out. All the prizes are going out to our lucky winners tonight. And very soon. So thank you, everyone. Thank you, One. Thank you, everyone, the entire gang, for joining us tonight. Thank you for downloading us. We're up to 60,000 downloads. It's still kind of head spinning, but also our friends out there in the network. So this is Mack Maloney for the entire gang. Until the next time you hear us, be safe, be happy, and
bye-bye.